the first to know. Nsem-Pii TV.
Lawyer Paul Adom Otre Odasowo, the case of current Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa. During his appearance with Veteran, Honorable Afenyo Makin, the minority leader, Ebusani Nsem-Pii regarding the residential status, baby ote, and how tibitria the rental fees. Na ebepie mu say baby ote na ye Ghana's most expensive area, the airport residential area, Boulevard. Na asanso ka say or rent. And a Ghana 4-year calculation who say baby or rent no for the past 8 years, a bit to a dime bear 10 and answer bear 8. Into a body saying as says he cannot obey media to dime. What the bear renting. A typical example, let's say, we use $8,000 a month, or they rent it. Say, Okasu Triani a year $96,000. $96,000. Etimi to a few more. Our Ghana. 80 for 8 for the past 8 years. Every year, we are $96,000. Eddie man or landlord as a rent. And then coffee be the concerns by say, who say we are or champion for fighting corruption. Now, so you sika the or parliament to show source of income are close to 15,000 Ghana cedis a month. A ban saying that ultimate rent up to the tune of $8,000 a month or 15,000 Ghana cedis. Where mathematical questions are Ghana for Busano. Now, after that hit, Honorable Sam Okudzeto Ablakwa control letter, managers of real estate property. Airport Hills. Permission say releasing information regarding questions of Mubisa and Vetting ne enclenity. Now so sikana potinya utriama the supposed landlord and the one boss. Lawyer Paul Adom Otre intercepted letter at the San Commodity to draft. Here no sans discuss potential judgment debt the current president Mahama is likely to pay with SIC MD appointment, MD new appointments why as part of the appointment for managing directors, the CEOs for state-owned enterprises, and I say companies, government, will stake in your liberty.
What are the 3 questions that the Honorable Foreign Minister, the Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa, must answer? There are 3 questions he must answer. Sometimes Ghanaian politicians like to take us for granted quite a bit, but this is really unfair. It's unfair for the foreign minister to be telling us the things he's telling us with the documents that he has put out, suggesting that the documents give him a clean bill of health. Anyway, let's get to it and understand what are the 3 questions that Ghanaians are asking. So the first thing is, what is the question Parliament asked? What is the question Parliament asked of Okudzeto Ablakwa, the foreign minister? What is the concern of Ghanaians? That's the second thing we need to understand. So Parliament asks a question and then Ghanaians express concern. We are trying to understand what is the question Parliament asks? What are the concerns of Ghanaians? And the last one is, what is the answer to the question on the money? These are the questions that Ghanaians ask. So let's go through the process. So Ablakwa says in his defense that he has some documents from Finale, the people who manage Airport Hills, that the house he's staying in is truly rented. So the Honorable Foreign Minister set out to show that the house that he lives in at the most expensive address in Accra is rented. It's being rented for 10 years. So let's go to the video first. Let's get back to the vetting, Afenyo Makin and Ablakwa, and then we'll build it up and go through these questions and see why and see how the foreign minister is taking Ghanaians for granted. The Honorable Foreign Minister is taking everybody for granted. I'm totally shocked as to the information he gave and wants to suggest to us that this gives him a clean bill of health as the Honorable Foreign Minister. I think this is completely embarrassing. Have a look at this video.
Is it your own property?
No, I am renting. I'm a tenant.
Airport Hills is dollar rented zone. Are you aware?
Honorable Member, can we have a clarification of dollar rented? Because in Ghana, we use CD. So I don't understand a dollar rented property. Does it mean you pay the rent in dollars?
Fundamental question is that the rent that is paid in the rented apartment of the best address in Accra is what was an issue. How much rent is being paid? And we alleged that they cannot be rented. It actually doesn't make any sense at all for anyone to rent it. Any politician who comes to tell us that he's been renting property in Trasaco, Airport Hills, you should take it with a pinch of salt. Because that's what it is. You must take that with a pinch of salt. The total amount of money he's paid for rent in 8 years can buy many houses. The question Ghanaians are asking is, how much money have you committed to this rent? And that doesn't come up in his defense. He doesn't defend himself on that in any way. He doesn't show the tenancy agreement. He brings quite important documents from Finale. It does not mention anything about how much money he's paying. The question we are asking the foreign minister is that you are a politician. We know your salary. How are you able to live this way? Because you are a politician and you live on the people's money, you are accountable to the people. And the people are either through parliament, through media, through something. But the most authoritative area where the people's concerns can be raised is in the floor, at the floor of parliament. Now, the concern of Ghanaians is that a politician who has not had any extensive corporate experience, but has worked hard in politics, like the Honorable Foreign Minister, who has come through politics, and now rents a place for 8 years since 2017 during the period that he's in opposition. How does that work? What is he telling us? And then you bring let's go to the documents, please. Let's look at the documents that came. So here are the documents that came. This is Honorable Ablakwa was writing to Finale Limited, and that's the people who manage the Airport Hills. He wrote the letter and said that so request for confirmation of my residential status at plot number Boulevard, Airport Hills. And he writes and says that on 31st, I responded to an invitation from the Appointments Committee to be vetted as Minister for Foreign Affairs. During the vetting proceedings, questions arose about my residential address, the nature of my occupancy, and the ownership of that address. I am by this letter granting consent to Finale Limited, the managers of Airport Hills, to provide information to the Appointment Committee stating my residential status. In the spirit of full disclosure, kindly be at liberty to also indicate the owner of the property in issue with the hope that the owner of the property shall consent, the size of the land, and your policy on rental. This is where the dishonesty is. In these 4 lines, he said, in the spirit of full disclosure, what are Ghanaians looking for? Ghanaians are looking for how you have found money in excess of $1 million or nearly $1 million United States dollars in the situation that you are as a member of parliament since 2017 to pay for rent. And then you say full disclosure, you exclude the money, you say that they should tell us the owner of the property. What do we care about the owner of the property? They should tell us who the owner of the property is, and they should also tell us the policy on rent. Are you taking us for granted, Foreign Minister? We don't want to know the policy. We want to know where you got the money from. And we want to be sure that that money is not taxpayers' money that has been pilfered. That's the problem. This evening, I heard Ablekuma's story. Apparently, both presumptive winners have put up billboards thanking people for voting for them. One of the ladies, I'm not sure whether it's MPP or NDC one of them spoke to Joy FM. She sounded very intelligent. She said that she's thanking them for voting anyway. She's not saying she won or she didn't win. The thank you is not to say thank you, I won. It's to say thank you for voting for me. On that note, maybe Dr. Baumiatu can do a thank you tour across the country. Says, thank you for voting for me. I'm not thanking you for voting for me so that I won, but you voted for me anyway because I got some votes in it. All right, let's get to the touch screen and see what the lawyers are saying about the debacle at SIC and what's happening there. Hollister Duayin to me is the outgoing.
Not outgoing per se.
Outgoing, isn't it? You don't want her to be called outgoing. Oh. The dismissed, outgoing, outgone.
We can't be sure yet.
Well, she goes because elections have consequences. Americans have a saying, says elections have consequences. That's why she's going, so she didn't worry about it. So let's look at the letter. Appointment of Managing Director. It was written on 18 December 2023. And it was addressed to Hollister to me, written in pen. I like Nana Bedeto's style of writing the names in pen. It makes it difficult for someone to fake it, you know. So anyway, the president has nominated, and this is a letter written to the Honorable Minister for Finance Ministries Accra, the Honorable Ken Oforiatta. and it's also copied to the Vice President, Jubilee House, which is the same format that's used today, the Chief of Staff, Jubilee House, and the Board Chairman, SIC Insurance Company. The letter entitled Appointment as Managing Director for the SIC Insurance Company. The President has nominated Ms. Hollister Duayen to me for appointment as Managing Director of SIC Company Limited, into brackets, the company. All right. Ms. Duayen to me's appointment should take effect on the first day of January 2024. Kindly take necessary steps to implement the said appointment in accordance with the Companies Act 2019, Act 992, and the regulations of the company. Attached to this letter is Mrs. Duayen to me's curriculum vitae. Please accept the President's best wishes. Okay. Abriku says that the appointment takes place on 1st January. So it did. Yes. So from 1st January, what will happen? What does all of these things mean? What does it say? Appointments in accordance with Companies Act. What does it mean?
So first and foremost, this is more or less a nomination. So the letter was not an appointment in the strict sense of the word. If I have a company and maybe I'm the sole shareholder, and when we say shareholder, we mean the person who owns interest in the company, and I want somebody as a director, I as a person individually may appoint an individual as a director to direct the affairs of the company.
Do you appoint him through somebody?
I'm saying if the company is mine, I'm
yes,
the sole,
yes.
I'm the only shareholder.
So you have a law firm, something like that.
Well, yes,
Okay.
yes. I can appoint a director, but we have to understand how this system works here. The SIC Insurance Company, and we also have to distinguish between the SIC Insurance Company and other companies we deem to be public, which is something a lot of people
We'll get there
don't know.
after. Let's give them this one. We'll get there after, because you are trying to look at roles and authority.
Yes.
We'll get there. Let's not, that will make it too much. Let's deal with SIC.
Okay.
And then when we end, you come and tell us the distinction of companies that are all called public, but some are this public left, public right.
Okay.
So we'll deal with that. So viewers who come to that, please bear with us. I want us to get this. So this is how she came in.
Yes.
So 1st January she comes in.
Yes.
Okay. She would have a letter, a contract.
Yes.
Wouldn't she?
Yes.
Okay.
A contract with the board or a contract with the company that effectuates her appointment. Because as I said earlier, this is not an appointment in the strict sense of the word.
So
It's
why
a
is this
nomination.
letter about Hollister Yin to me being written to the Minister of Finance? Why is it being written to him?
So state institutions.
Or am I
and
right?
agencies-
Is this letter going to Minister of Finance?
Oh, yeah, it's directed to the Minister of Finance and then CC'd the President, Vice President,
when
and
this
whatever.
letter leaves Bedeto's hand, where is it going? Finance or to Hollister?
It's going to Hollister because addressed to her.
So
However,
she will take it to Finance.
as to whether she takes it to Finance or
Now, I want you to
another
clearly
copy-
understand the rules that
Okay.
between the President and the Hollister Duayen to me and the SIC, are there some paths that have to be crossed clearly before she becomes what the President wants her to become?
Yes. So first, you have to, for administrative purposes.
I beg, wait, one more. Is the President acting here as the shareholder?
You see, the government has shares in the state insurance company, and therefore the president, more or less, as you know, in line with Article 58 of the Constitution, who has been vested with executive power, is acting in this capacity as a shareholder.
As the
Nominating-
shareholder representing government shares?
Yes,
representing
as
government?
A share, yes.
Okay, but this is a listed company.
Public listed company.
So government has majority?
Reason I say that, it is for that I cannot really tell now, because that will mean we actually conducting a search to see the.
I'm guessing
shareholding
government has
structure.
majority. That
More or
is
less.
why the government is appointing the managing director.
That is why the government is
Nominates.
nominating.
Thank you.
The
Nominating
managing
the
director.
managing director.
Exactly.
But it says that the word he used, appointment.
Yes, but you
It
see,
doesn't say nomination as managing director. It says appointment.
it can be a term of art, because if you look at the fact that they are supposed to take necessary steps to implement the said appointments in accordance with the Companies Act. And that was why I wanted to make the point about the distinction between a public listed company and a state agency.
No, let's keep with this one. We'll come to that distinction. So,
But that
why is
distinction
President writing to Ken?
But that's
We need it.
distinction will
Okay,
answer
so go ahead. Go ahead.
the
If we
question.
need it, go ahead.
So
this SIC is a public company,
Yes, public listed.
but it's
company.
listed.
Yes.
Okay. You want to distinguish it from which other one? For
From
instance?
state agencies, maybe something like NEIP, National or Youth Employment
the ID
Agency.
cards people.
Or even
one of
NIA,
those?
yes.
Yeah, let's use. People can relate more to the ID
Yes,
card.
NIA.
NIA.
Okay.
Okay.
So
National Insurance
Agency. Sorry, Authority.
National Insurance Authority. Okay.
Authority,
All right.
yes.
Hey,
So the thing is,
National Identification Authority.
National Identification Authority,
Yeah.
sorry. So the thing is, Public listed companies, pursuant to Section 7 of the Companies Act, are companies that, despite the fact they may have whoever shareholding structure, are listed to the public. When we say they are listed to the public, what do we mean? There are certain requirements in Section 7 of Act 992, the Companies Act. 1, they allow for shareholders more than 50. 2,
50, number 50.
Number 50.
Okay.
2, the transfer of shares is not supervised by the company itself. So the company does not control how the shares are, moves around, are transferred among
does?
parties. It's sale. So
stock
Apeku has
exchange.
sale. Yes, it's
Okay,
listed on the stock
It's
exchange.
listed. So every day they are trading.
They are trading.
So the company will be told that your new shareholder is this or that.
Yes,
Like
it has-
like it happens in Wall Street.
and in many Ghana
Yeah,
stock
yeah.
exchanges.
Yes,
So it's
yes,
listed
yes,
at the
yes, we
stock
get it.
exchange.
Yes, yes,
So the
yes.
thing is that there are multiple people with interests who hold shares. Now, there may be 100,000. So not all of them at a point in time can come together and appoint a director for the company. And so that is why often, in this instance, it's the board that does the appointment.
Who appoints the board?
The board, the board is appointed by the shareholders.
All of them.
Yes.
Does
but
it reflect the shares? So 70% shareholder will appoint 70% of the board. Is that how it works?
Generally, it depends on the constitution of the company. But often, it's when we are voting on a director, it may take the form of a majority vote. So it may be the majority of the shareholders, or not majority of the shareholders in terms of number, but
The
the
size
person
of
who has
that interest.
more shares.
So Snit may
Has
have
a heavier say.
Snit will be one, but has 30%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you look at CBG, Bank of Ghana has shares in CBG as well as others. So it is the one with more shares that
Okay.
would have a that
So-
would have
so let's-
more
let's
say.
reduce it
So
to the
in this
understanding.
instance, if you look at the fact that this is an appointment to a public listed company, there are certain things that have to be done. The board is the one supposed to do the appointments, because the board were the ones that were placed there. That's the board of directors by the shareholders. The shareholders, who are the shareholders? People, agencies, companies that are distinct from government, even though government forms part of them. So this is different from maybe a National Identification Authority that is established by government and controlled wholly by government.
Do I understand the point you are making, that National Identification Authority or Ghana Airport Company does not have any other shareholder other than government? Is that the point you're making?
Yes,
that they don't have any other, because they are not listed. Because they are not listed.
Or-
Their only shareholder is government. But government may come in, like Cocoa Board has 20%, Snit has something.
Yes, just that.
And then any other person can have, NCA can have something, etc.
Just that the majority of shares, overwhelmingly, is by government, such that government can take decisions. And
I get it.
also
So the
takes
government being,
decisions-
government being GOG can have shares.
Yes.
Then government as SNIT can have shares.
Yes, exactly.
Together
That's
they
what I'm
have
saying.
90%.
So-
Government as Cocoa Board can have 5%.
Yes.
Government as Ghana Airport Company can have something.
Exactly.
Yes.
So they control.
Yes. So
the
so you are
agencies.
explaining the distinction where a company that is a government-owned company,
Yes.
its holds 100% shares is held by government or its agencies.
Yes.
And then the distinction in SIC, where whilst it is a public listed company, governments may have controlling shares, but government alone does not form the shareholding.
The shareholding structure, because
In
it's-
that case, because it's publicly listed.
Yes,
So I can
everybody.
go on SIC shares tomorrow
subscribe
and buy shares for 100 cedis, 900 cedis, and I
Exactly.
become a shareholder.
Yes.
And I'm entitled to be at the shareholders meeting.
Yes.
Okay. How do directors get appointed onto a place like that?
So directors get appointed.
Board of directors, for viewers to understand.
Board of directors, first there has to be a notice to the shareholders that we intend to hold a meeting to appoint directors to fill this role or that role. Then at the meeting, the notice of the meeting is going to indicate that we intend to have maybe approve Paul Adomotri to be appointed as director of so and so. So the shareholders meet.
Will know about it.
They'll know about it. You can't.
So they can come there,
catch
somebody
them.
can raise his hand and say,
I
I
don't
don't
like
want Paul Adomotri.
Yes, because there are
I don't
certain
like what he does
requirements.
on TV.
Yes.
Something
And-
like, or technical requirements. He doesn't have this qualification.
Yes,
He's not this
he's-
age. He's not a Ghanaian.
He's committed crime
crime.
involving dishonesty.
All of
he's
that.
involved in bankruptcy. All those are
all those
requirements.
things, the limitations.
So, yes.
Does it include otherwise qualified to be a member of parliament?
Oh, no.
It doesn't. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So once that is done, is done, then the approval is given. Now the approval is given by the shareholders. It can be by vote, and as I said, there are two main ways. It may be by the number of people that the number of shareholders, or most, and this is the system that happens most of the time, the value of shares or the amount of shares. So if I have 70% and I vote for,
that's 70% of the
that's
vote.
70 votes.
So if you
But
the
I'm one
70%
person,
vote for Paul Adumoche, 70%
has carried it.
Okay. All right. Cool. So let's continue. So by the time Hollister was appointed, by this letter by Asante to, which was to take effect on 1st January.
Yes.
Was the letter suggesting that between 18 December and 1st January, take all these steps pursuant to Companies Act 992, etc. Is that what it meant? So that by 1st January, it's expected that Mrs. Yin-Tumi will take full control of SIC,
yes,
having cleared all the necessary legal
hurdles. Exactly.
Okay.
Pursuant to the fact that there are stakeholders that must be engaged for the decision to be made.
Okay. So the company SIC, the company,
yes,
knows that there's been elections.
Yes.
Okay. The company SIC knows that there's a new president.
Yes.
Okay. The company SIC would expect that a new president will make new appointments.
Yes.
How should that be done?
So what's normally is done, it may not be the best practice because it means that these public listed corporations are going to heavily rely on political appointees and be, they may not necessarily be independent. May have favoritism and all that. But what is done is the board sits, the board will say, Charlie, new government, new rules. And so we are going to discuss and then have a mutual jaw
Is
with
the
person.
Should it not rather be the chief of staff tells the company that shareholding remains the same, but the shareholder policy has changed?
That's why I said that. So if you want to remove,
so they should be telling the director, look, policy has changed. We are changing this person. We are the shareholders. We can do that. The same way Akufo-Addo did. We are the majority, overwhelming majority.